Hello everyone, I'm back with a Shopify tutorial and I've been building quite a nice store for myself, a development store, to just show you around in a new topic that has arisen during the new summer release of Shopify, and I will be walking through this specific feature in this loom. So in classic Shopify fashion, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but actually one of the main things that Shopify creates its development environments around are snowboard stores. Why? Because the founder of Shopify actually started with a snowboard store themselves, and that's why actually they built Shopify, because they were so frustrated in how they had to build their online snowboard store. And so they created a platform to make that snowboard store on more easily. I've added some skateboard related stuff because I was so into the latest podcast about Huberman, Andrew Huberman, who was actually interviewing Tony Hawk. So I got into the skating stuff again. So I don't know if you guys remember the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game back in the days, but it was so awesome to get to know Tony Hawk a bit better and think back about the times when I was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So I actually added some things into the development store with skateboard related subjects. So I hope that you're as excited as I am to go through some old school videos of Tony Hawk Pro Skater as well on the different pages. But back to the subject, it's actually quite amazing what Shopify has built. It's now possible to create pages based on meta objects. Obviously, we did another series about what exactly meta objects are. A meta object is different than a meta field. A meta field is actually an additional field that you add to a construct that Shopify already knows. For example, you can add a extra field, thus a meta field, to, for example, a product in Shopify. For example, you could add a specific section or a specific image or a specific related product or a specific text to a specific product via meta fields. And then a meta object is actually one level higher. You can create a whole new construct with a meta object. So basically, as you can see here in Shopify, I'll just open this for a second. A meta field is actually on top of a basic structure that you know or that Shopify knows already. So for example, a product, right? You can go into a product right here, and then you can add additional meta fields. It's a bit slow, so I'll just pause it for a second if it lets me. Yes, so you can see here that we have some meta fields on a construct that exists already, which is a product. But now you can actually think of a whole different structure that you want to create. For example, I want to create recipes, or I want to create, like I did, a writer profile or an influencer profile. And such an influencer profile has not just one entry, right? But it has a name, an image, a description, a video, a board that he likes, etc., etc. Or an ingredient could also be, a dish could also be like, this dish consists out of these 10 ingredients, and you have a whole description about every single ingredient in that dish. Then you create a meta object that is the dish, right? And you have all of the other stuff that is inside of that dish. And so you need to create a different construct, which is a dish instead of a product. And then, and this is actually the clue, but it needs some background information to make it exciting, you can actually build pages around those new constructs. So just to understand or make you understand this better, because this is all a bit conceptual, imagine that you want to create, so we're going to take the example that I have created, right? That you, and I'm going to show you the website. So imagine that a specific snowboard is linked to a specific skater. In this case, the liquid snowboard is linked to Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk, is very important information here, right? Because we are actually trying to market this board as Tony Hawk's board. So you can imagine that this information about this rider is actually very important if you're scrolling through the website yourself, because maybe you're interested in this board, and then you're like, oh yeah, Tony Hawk is the skater that really likes this board, so I actually want to buy this board. But then it could also be very interesting that you are able to click through to a specific page about Tony Hawk, right? So if you then click through to this page, you actually see that this is a specific page, as you can see in the URL, but it is a subset of a rider's construct that we have created ourselves. And so this is now a page that is generated automatically for all of the riders that I add to my meta objects. Before, when we would like to have this, so imagine now that you have a store that has 1,000 snowboards, and every single snowboard has a specific rider that is linked to it. Before, if you wanted to have a page like this about all of those riders, what you needed to do is you had to create a page for every single of those riders. So if you go to content, right here, then so if you go to the part of the online store, then you had to create, so here, sorry, I needed to click. Then you have to create all of those pages, and you could link all of those riders to those different pages. But that would mean that you needed to enter, so I'm going to really take this example because this is really actually, obviously, but I created this whole demo for it, but this is a very good example. So imagine that you wanted to add or to create a page where you had an image of Tony Hawk, his name, his description, and then two videos that are related, and maybe the related product as well, right, to the Tony Hawk skater. By the way, this is just super cool. I mean, these are the YouTube videos. Those are the YouTube videos to get back into the Tony Hawk Pro Skater days. So awesome to see all of those things back. But whatever, let's pause this for a second because this is actually irrelevant. But so imagine that you wanted to create a page with all of this information. Now, if you look in Shopify, this is actually something that is hard. I mean, you could create meta fields for pages, and then you could add, I have an image meta field, I have a description meta field, I have a name meta field, I have a video 1, video 2 meta field, etc. So that you could fill in the template for this page with all of the meta fields that are linked to that page. But this meant that you had to create all of those pages. So again, imagine that you have 1,000 skaters that you have like as riders, right? Then you needed to create 1,000 pages here and add all of this information to all of those different pages for all of those different riders. Now you can imagine that is a lot of work, right? So what is actually a lot easier is that you actually create a meta object, which is what we obviously did. We added a rider's definition, and in this rider's definition, we made all of the entries that we wanted, because if you go to settings and you go to custom data, then you can actually create a meta object yourself, and you can define what has to be added in that definition that you created yourself. So again, in this case, are all the things that I mentioned before. So a rider needs to have this, and this. You can add whatever kind of fields that you want to. For example, a birthday, because you want to add a date for that rider, etc., etc. So I mean, the options are just endless. So you create this yourself because you have a concept of what a rider is. It's definitely different than the concept of what a page is or used to be in Shopify. And now what you can do is you can just create a web page from this new thing that you have created. So again, before what you had to do is you had to make pages, add all of that information to pages, while now you just have a construct that you can just imagine yourself. You create all of those specific things that you relate to that concept that you're creating, in this case, a rider. And by filling all of those in, again, here in the meta objects, you can create a page automatically from all of those entries. So without the need of having to create all of those pages for all of those skaters. So once you actually added all of that information to the skaters, this is by definition also a page. And this is what you see right here. Because that now you have pages, but we didn't have to make all of those pages. You have the riders, because this is a construct that we had made ourselves. And then you have all of the different riders that you have added as riders in the meta objects. So, I mean, to maybe take a step back, this is actually getting close to a content management system, because, and this is then getting very interesting, I'm going to show you how I did it in the theme, or how it looks in the theme customizer as well, obviously. But you have specific content blocks or content structures. Again, the riders are such a construct. You add all of different types of information to it, and then you can use that information in a composable way, actually, in pages and in other products. And now I will, or in other parts of the website, basically. So I will now show you what that means. So if you go to the online store, right, then you go to customize. Then what I actually just did is, if you go, you can actually create something here. So this is actually what we're talking about. You can create a meta object template. So in this case, this is the riders. And you just have one template, right? You click on it. And here you can now add the dynamic sources of the construct that you just created to this template, or to add all of that information, all of that content, all of that composable content to the template that you have here in front of you. So how does this work? Again, image. What you can do is you can link this to the dynamic field, or the dynamic field that you have created. That is the image of the skater. You can also obviously edit the meta field yourself. Then you can go to the heading and you say, I want the rider name in this. This has to be pre-filled. So again, here things show up that we have added in the riders construct as a meta object, and you have the option to select all of the the single line or multi-line type of fields that you have created to fill into this heading, because obviously this heading accepts only text, right? So you can choose all of the information that you had created yourself. Then the description, you can also select all of the dynamic inputs that have a multi-line or a single line, to make sure that you can add those to the descriptions. And obviously the little videos that we have added, I needed to make some custom liquid, because it's quite stupid that Shopify doesn't allow you to get a URL of a typical video block. I don't know if I can show you, no. So to make sure that we can add dynamic YouTube videos, I had to add a little custom liquid block to this instead of just using the video block in this theme, in the Dawn theme, because we're not able to get the YouTube link from a dynamic source, which is a bit weird, but probably Shopify will change this at one point. So this makes sure that it's extremely easy for me to create a template, hydrate it with custom content that is actually composable and that can be used, and create all of those pages for all of those riders that have been created in the backend. So now we actually generate a nice and circular like user experience, because you can go to a catalog. You can say, oh, this is actually a really cool one as well that I wanted to show. So Rodney Mullen, one of the very awesome skateboarders, is linked to this skateboard. So imagine, I'm interested in this skateboard. You see, Rodney Mullen also is the rider on this board. So you can click through to Rodney Mullen because you want some more information. This is actually a video that I really would say that everybody needs to watch, because it's just incredible what this guy can do on a skateboard. I'm just going to show you real quick. He's like more of a dancer. It's insane. So yeah, if you want this video, please let me know, because what this guy does is simply amazing again. And so you can actually, and then you can link also this rider to a specific board, because then you're on the rider, you're interested, and you say, oh yeah, this is indeed the board that he was interested in. So you can link this as well. So this is like a whole setup, creating meta objects, linking products in a meta field or in a field in a meta object to a certain rider. Create all of those pages for all of those riders in a click of a button. So that all of those pages are generated automatically. And so this is actually really a step in the direction where you see Shopify as a small scale, obviously, but still it is taking more of the concept of a CMS, so a content management system, which is way easier to use in terms of where the content lives, and making it composable so it can be used in different places on the website. And thus that you don't need to recreate it constantly. So it's actually, maybe conceptually to finish or to conclude, everything is composable in the sense that you just reference a certain block that you can create yourself, because now you can create whatever kind of conceptual blocks that you want to, and you actually call on those blocks on different pages or different places on the website, instead of having to duplicate all of those parts of content or pieces of content on all the different kinds of pages and products. Now you just call this concept once, and if you change this concept or the content of this concept, then it is changed on all of the locations that it is referenced to. So reach out to me if you have any questions about what I have or have created in terms of meta objects, in terms of what I did here in the templates to link all of it together, and how you can easily create all of those meta objects, all of those pages from meta objects that you define yourself. Thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye-bye.